Hello, welcome back to Our Queer Experience. I have a very special episode for you today. Today we are joined by Mr. Roddy Biggs. And Andre, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Roddy before he comes on.
Yeah, so Roddy comes from Tennessee, and he is known for his activism as well as his modeling and acting. You can find him on IMDb. You can find him all around the web because he has such a strong presence. He got started with leading gay straight alliances both in high school and college. He went on to become a facilitator of diversity and inclusion efforts for different organizations and businesses. And he now is the chapter leader for East Tennessee GLSEN, as well as a youth ambassador for the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. And all while being so young. He's still in his 20s. So we are so excited to have him on here to talk about activism and getting politically involved and making a difference in the community. Welcome, Roddy.
Thank you. It's so great to be on.
You are our first guest, so we are so excited to have you. And how you set the precedent for everyone that comes behind you. Kidding.
No pressure or anything, you know.
Sounds fun.
So, Roddy, why don't you tell us a little about how you first got started with your activism work? It looks like you got started at a really young age.
Yeah, so I came out as being gay at the age of 12, and I knew that there was something different about me much earlier than that. I can remember like 6 or 7 not feeling the same way that my friends did or talking about the same things my friends talked about, but really didn't know what that was or how to express that. So it wasn't until I was 10 that I learned what being gay meant, and that time was like, okay, so that's what I am. It all makes sense now. And then, like I said, I came out at 12. After coming out, I was severely bullied and harassed and made fun of for years. And I didn't start out being an advocate or an activist. I started out just like very many LGBT youth start out, feeling very ashamed of who I was and hiding and turned to cutting and self-isolation and all of that. But as time went on and I started meeting more and more people and hearing that I wasn't the only person going through this kind of stuff, I started to use my voice, and it just kind of spiraled out of control from there, and I've gotten involved in advocacy and activism work and have really not quit since then. So I've been doing advocate-related work since about 15, and like I said, it's just picked up more and more as time's gone on.
That is awesome. And I love your point of, like, you didn't start as an advocate. That wasn't like a goal you initially had, but it kind of just became, it was born out of you through your experience.
Right.
I also think that you make an important point that, you know, you really did struggle with these issues when you were a lot younger, and what helped you was to hear other people's stories and their experiences, and that's really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. What we're trying to do with this podcast, of, you know, just sharing who we are and our experiences, and hopefully that'll help somebody. And you know, we really appreciate you being willing to share that with us.
No problem.
So you say you got started when you were 15. What was kind of like the first thing that you did?
So I took over my high school's GSA as the president my junior and senior year. So that was very fun, very crazy, but that's really when all of the advocacy work started, and when I started using my voice somewhat, but nowhere near to the degree of what I do now. But getting involved at an early age in a high school GSA definitely helped me shape who I am today and helped me to find my voice.
Great. Was the GSA at your high school big, small?
I'd say it was probably about medium, so there would be anywhere from 10 to 20 people out of a 500-person high school. So small, not huge, but a good size.
What was the relationship like with the school? Like, did you receive support from the administration and stuff? In Tennessee, I imagine that doesn't always go very well.
Well, since I am from Knoxville, which is one of the more liberal areas of the state, we did see quite a lot of support. So we had 2 advisors at the time. We had support of one of the vice principals because she identified as a lesbian woman and was out, and she knew she was out and was married. And then pretty much from that, we really didn't have support of anyone else. But that didn't stop us from hosting things like Day of Silence or No Name Calling Week. So we just kind of went with the support we had, and we had support in some high places. So you really wouldn't have known that there was pushback from other administrators.
You didn't really see any of the opposition as a student. You didn't really see it?
No, but as a student leader, you definitely knew that it was going on and that it was around, and you had to keep it hush-hush from the rest of the school so that people felt accepted and welcome.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. And you also did something similar in college, too, right?
Yeah, so I am currently the president of Pellissippi State's GSA, and will be passing that on to a underclassman since I will be moving on to MTSU in the fall. But I've done pretty much the same type of work that I did in high school here. So it's a whole lot of trainings and advocacy and leading meetings, just on a much larger scale with definitely very little pushback from anyone, which is nice.
Wow. That's really cool. How do you feel about the prospect of going to Middle Tennessee? Because that's in Chattanooga, or it's a little ways away, right?
It's 45 minutes outside of Nashville in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Murfreesboro, yeah.
So it's honestly a very diverse, very liberal campus. So I see no problem. They've had a Lambda Center there for the last 25 years and have a huge women's studies program and a gender and sexuality program as well as several political active groups. So it's going to be a very great experience just in and of itself being at MTSU. And then plus my partner and I of almost 2 years will be going together. So we'll be moving in together the end of July and starting a new chapter in our life in August. So that's also very exciting.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that's so cool that you've had such good support at school, both high school and college, and even going forward, you're going to a campus that is very supportive. And I'm in Oklahoma currently. Bruce is originally from West Virginia, so we know that it's always heartening to hear that people in areas not famous for being friendly, queer friendly, are finding a lot of support in the community, the broader community around them.
Do you see yourself doing activism, for the rest of your life as a career, or is this just while you're in school kind of thing?
I honestly don't know, because like I said, I didn't see myself getting started in it in the first place. But sure. I know now that I am, I don't really want to stop. As for a career, though, I'm not sure. I am going to school to get a bachelor's in media, and I'm going to minor in sociology. So I could definitely see myself doing advocacy-related work, whether it's the standing in front of people and continuing to tell my story, or helping others to share theirs through media sources. I couldn't say. It may end up being a combination of both. At this point, I just know that I'm going to continue fighting for equality and fighting the good fight. I just don't know really what that's going to entail as to the type of work I'll be doing.
That
Absolutely.
That sounds like a really good attitude. I know for myself, but I know for a lot of folks in the community, it could be hard to advocate to get that motivation. Not only because they may not know how to do it, but there's a lot of uncertainty about what it look like going forward. How do you kind of deal with that uncertainty, the fear of the unknown that comes with advocacy?
Yeah, so I mean, really, it's not an easy thing to do because you do never know if you post something on social media and it's going to totally backfire, and I've had that happen before. But at the same time, you look at it and say, well, while this one may have backfired or may not have reached the number of people that you wanted it to, the next story might. And so you just move forward one step at a time. Some things are going to be successful. Other things aren't going to be as successful. But I always say if you reach one person and change their life, then what's it matter how many people you've actually connected with? It's the fact that you're sharing your story in hopes that other people feel empowered and that they can show those as well. So kind of a different outlook than a lot of people have. But to me, the numbers aren't really all that important. They do help, but at the end of the day, like I said, if you're reaching a very small group of people and you know that you're changing their life for the better, you're doing something right.
This might be a small sidetrack, but I want to ask you real quick about, so you said that you did some things online that there was some backlash. Do you mind giving some details about that, how that went, how you dealt with it, etc.?
Yeah, so it's really stuff that really shouldn't get that kind of backlash. So I remember one probably 6 months ago where on Twitter, #GoodParent was trending. So I know someone who is a very supportive parent to their trans child and to their other children, and I tweeted a picture with the parent's permission of her son's hair that was dyed rainbow and put that hashtag in it. And hundreds of people started commenting that that's not what good parenting looks like, that it was child abuse, and so on. So it wasn't the type of response that I thought it would get. But at the end of the day, there were people also commenting on it saying that this wasn't child abuse, that it was awesome to see a mother caring about diversity and supporting her child's decisions to be who they are. So I didn't expect to see that kind of negativity on it. But then, like I said, there were also the people on it that were supporting it. So stuff like that is what I mean by backlash, where you see the very ugly side of people, but then you also realize that while they may be showing their worst self, there is somebody out there who is seeing that post who may be thinking, oh, well, now I might be able to tell someone who I am because there's somebody else who is like me out there. Or if there's someone who is struggling being a youth who's not cisgender and heteronormative like so much of the world is, being able to say, you know what, I see somebody supports me. And so even if they never tell anyone, or if it's years from then that they tell someone, they've at least seen that glimmer of hope that there is somebody out there like them and that those people who are going to support them.
Great. And that glimmer of hope is what kind of gets you through the negative, knowing that the overall there's positives out there.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So how did you get involved with Listen? Because you're the chapter chair for East Tennessee, right?
Well, I was until just recently when I stepped down from that to pursue other things. But when I was the chapter chair of GLSEN, it largely came out of being a student leader in my high school because I was plugged in with GLSEN through the high school. And it just kind of went from there, and I didn't quit when I got out of high school. But I'm still very heavily involved in GLSEN-related activities. but currently have no leadership role in Garrison, Tennessee.
Okay. So you were like, hey, I'm going to get involved as a leader, but now it's time to kind of pass the reins to someone else.
Right.
That's great. Do you have leadership transitions can always be difficult. How do you kind of manage passing the baton to someone else?
You honestly just know when it's time and when another door opens, and there's always going to be someone ready to jump at the opportunity to share their voice. So I passed it on when I started working through an organization called Free to Love, which is a non-profit organization that empowers youth through movement and advocacy work. And I really just didn't have the capacity to do that, also work with the Human Rights Campaign and do freestyle writing for other organizations as well. So, like, you can't do everything. And so as another door opens, you release things that you've been doing for a while so that someone else can come forward and do. And the ones I'm working with now are the ones that I've devoted a lot of time and energy into them. So I'm invested in them for right now. But if something comes along and it looks like a worthwhile cause, then I'll have to do some shifting and see where it fits in, if I can do it along with what I'm already doing, or if I'll have to let something go, which is always a very difficult decision. But at the end of the day, it's where can I make the most good and affect the most people at that point in my life, which may look different 6 months from now, or may look different a year from now, or 5 years from now. And that's something that I always have to decide when it comes down to it.
That sounds like a really great perspective. You're so wise in what you're saying. It's so awesome. Thank you. Tell us more about Free to Love.
So, like I said, they are a nonprofit organization that focus on empowerment through music and entertainment, and really try to empower youth of any background, any walk of life, whether they're straight, lesbian, gay, bi, doesn't really matter, whether they've been bullied themselves or know someone who has been bullied, to accept who they are and to stand up for one another. So it's a really terrific organization doing really amazing work. And so I work with them to spread that message of being free to love and being free to be yourself, and empowering young people to know that they can be exactly who they are, and that no matter what's happened to them, that they don't deserve any of it, and that they are equal, and that they can take control of their own life, and that they don't have to let the past define who they are.
Oh, that's a great message. How long have you been working with them?
About a year now.
That's so cool. And is that how you got into acting and modeling?
No, so I actually got into acting and modeling when I was still in high school, and a talent scout in my local mall was there talking to people and told me that I should really consider it because I was what they were looking for. And so, being 14 at the time, I was like, yeah, whatever, kind of brushed it off because you think so many of those would be a scam and this kind of stuff. So I Googled them and found out that they actually weren't. So I was like, all right, whatever, let's give this a try. And so I went to an open call audition and kind of just fell into it. Like, again, I wasn't looking into my life saying, you know what, this week I'm going to go and try to be an actor and a model. But it just, an opportunity came and something told me to jump on it. So I did. And since then I've done some national TV shows, a couple national photo shoots, and have really enjoyed it, and it's helped me spread a message of hope and equality.
Awesome. Fantastic. I know I've done some little modeling work, and I know for me, it helped me deal with a lot of my own issues and get a lot of confidence. Did you find it helped you in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, a lot of people think of models as very self-centered individuals, which, don't get me wrong, there are quite a few out there, but the majority, I would say, are actually very compassionate, very caring, and very outgoing individuals who are in it for another reason. So I know, like I said, I got involved with it when I was 14, and even though I'd come out when I was 12, all of the feelings and the struggles really hadn't gone away yet because I was still being bullied and being beaten down every day. And so even if for an hour to a week I was able to use modeling as a way to escape reality, that helped me. And being around people who I felt safe with also helped me kind of forget about what was going on and helped me be able to build a sense of self-worth and responsibility in my own action. And so definitely I would say that modeling and acting is a very good way to build yourself up when society keeps beating you down.
Wow, well said. We are starting to come catching up to the clock, and Bruce and I were really interested in hearing about your advice for young people who are looking for ways to get involved in activism. Any suggestions you might have for them?
Yeah, so be true to yourself, show your story. It's not that hard to find an organization or someone who needs to hear your message. So if a youth wanting to get involved, I say do it. You don't have to change the world. You don't have to be the best person out there. You don't have to have the greatest story. You don't have to have a lot of really horrible things happen in your life to show what you know and show your authentic truth. And that's what the world needs. We need more people out there being who they are, showing what they know, and helping others. I mean, just look at the last election, not counting the presidency, but look at the people all around the country who have stepped forward. So you had the Me Too movement come out of nowhere. You had the Women's March come out of nowhere. And a lot of those people had never done anything like this before. So you don't have to be a professional speaker. You don't have to be this terrific advocate. And you can honestly not even have your own voice yet. But get involved and talk to people who have found their voice. And I can guarantee that they're going to help you find yours along the way. And it's going to be an amazing experience. But like I said, the most important thing is for anyone, especially youth, to know that they are free to be themselves and that they can be their true, authentic self in the world we live in. And I encourage them to do just that.
That is amazing. You should add motivational speaker to your list of accomplishments and jobs, Roddy.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you and recognize you for, doing your part of it. You're practicing what you preach. You're going out there and sharing your story in hopes that it will help others. And, I respect you a lot for that.
Thank you.
Agreed. I don't think I can ask anything else that will top what you just said. Bruce?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to end this episode. Well done.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today, Roddy. And hopefully we can get you back on later. If folks want to connect with you, do you have a website, or go ahead and give them your Twitter handle if you'd like?
Yeah, so I really don't have a website that I maintain very much. There's a link to it on my Facebook page, but I stay very active on Twitter at Roddy Biggs, so very easy to find. It's just my first and last name. And then Facebook and Instagram are Roddy Biggs .official. And I stay pretty active on there as well. So, like you said, really, if you just search Roddy Biggs on the web, you're going to be directed to some way that you can get involved. Also, if anyone wants to shoot me an email, it's roddybiggs93@outlook.com. So I'd be more than happy to speak with anyone who either wants to get involved in advocacy work or who needs someone to just listen and be that friendly voice or ear to tell them that everything's going to be okay and help guide them through whatever struggles they may be going through.
Perfect.
Thanks. We look forward to seeing how you continue to change the world, one to the scene at a time and beyond.
Awesome.
But for now, that's all from Bruce and myself. Join us Monday, where we're actually going to be kind of continuing on this topic of authenticity and visibility, and what it means for us and for you. And join the conversation at Twitter at OQE Podcast. We look forward to hearing from y'all and having you join us again on Monday. Bye, y'all.